Hi class. So in this video I just want to go over your upcoming team exercise a little bit and just give you some details on the process of completing this team exercise and some details on the assignment itself. So let's start off with the idea of the team exercises. So there's two different types of main teamwork you're doing in this class. You've already done your team discussion, which is primarily just about discussing a particular topic. The team exercises are going to give you a specific case, and then they're going to ask you to produce a document together based upon that case. We're going to have 5 of these, and they're going to be a wide different range of documents and cases that you're going to be working with. So for this first case, the case is basically asking you to help the Miami Adult Education Center consider what types of handouts and supports they need for a course on business correspondence. The director of that center basically isn't sure if she wants to have handouts that are really specific to a particular type of correspondence, maybe multiple handouts that would cover individually cover letters, complaint letters, etc., or if she wants just to have one handout that really just covers all of the different types of things much more generally. So what do you do in correspondence generally? How do you make effective correspondence generally, etc.? And so she's asked for our help and asked us to do a little research and to try and answer this question for her. So basically what you're going to be doing in the assignment is you'll start off just doing a little bit of basic research. Go ahead and look at the textbook again, carefully read chapter 9, make sure that you're getting as much as you can out of that, but then also go out and look at a few of these different writing guides that you can find online. I gave you links to 3, but I'd like you to go ahead and look up at least 5 different guides. So at least 2 more in addition to these 3. You can obviously go well beyond that if you want to. But get a sense of how much general advice they give and how much specific advice they give. So how much do they tell you about how to write correspondence in general, and how much do they tell you about the content of a very particular type of correspondence? As you're doing that, just pay attention to the advice that they are giving you. Try and figure out what are the main points that would need to be included in this type of guide, in this type of handout. Just try and get a really solid grasp of how you would build your own guide for writing business correspondence. In the end, you're not actually going to be asked to build that guide yourself. Instead, you're just going to be asked to write a piece of correspondence to her about this. So you're going to be writing about a 750-word memo. One thing that you should know about word limits in this class is that they're never really prescriptive. I say 750 words because I want you to get into some detail here, and I want you to give her some specific recommendations based upon your research, and I want you to be able to speak specifically about that research. With that being said, if you can do that in less than 750 words, that's fine. As long as it's complete, the actual numbers don't really matter to me. I just give those recommendations for lengths so that you can get an idea of how much detail you need to go into. So that's the basic overview of this. Do go ahead and take a look at the assignment, take a look at the rubric. This will show you how the grade breakdown works. But one thing that we should quickly cover before I get going is what the memo format is, because this is a fairly easy way to get some of the points, and it's something that honestly causes a little bit more confusion than it probably should. So memos are just one type of business correspondence. You can find more information on them in your textbook on page 253. Memos are primarily used for internal communication within organizations, but they follow a very specific type of format usually. So one thing you can do to easily get some points on this assignment is just to follow this format. Start off with a to. You have the name of the person who you're writing this to, so make sure that that's there. Then include a from. You can say who you are, who's writing to her. Include a specific subject. You always want that subject to be really clear and really specific so that when they look at it, they get a sense of what they're going to be reading about. And then include the date. Other things that are important about memos you can find in this annotated version on page 254. Things that you should start really thinking about are things like this. The memo begins with a clear statement of purpose as discussed. So you really, really want to make sure that you have that clear statement of purpose, that you start off with a very clear idea of what you're writing about. because if you have to start searching down the memo to try and find that information, you're probably going to start losing readers and getting them confused. You can also use some of this document design that we've already talked about. So start putting in headings, break up the memo into things to help people scan through it really quickly, to help them understand it. And then always also end with just kind of a strong recommendation, a really clear idea of what you want them to do with these guides. So there's some more information in terms of guidelines on organizing a memo here. You can also find a checklist on page 262 of your textbook. So go back to the textbook, take a while to look at some of this information on memos. I think it'll help you a lot in getting this assignment done effectively. And if you have any questions at all during the week, you know you can always contact me on Slack, so please do. I'm happy to help you out however I can.